welcome on this new Coach Dev Academy Lab Guide. I'm Corentin Guinez, and today we're gonna use the M4 GT4 on Interlagos for the week 10 of the Falcon Sports Car Series. As usual, first we're gonna go with the hot lap together, and then we're gonna go into more details about the combo. So yep, let's get started. Alright guys, so you go for the lap around Interlagos with the M4 GT4, and we're gonna arrive quickly on T1. So basically at that point, just looking at the 100-meter board, and then just after looking at the 50. So basically between those 2 points, it's the time when I'm gonna have to apply the brakes. So basically maybe 2 or 3 meters before the 50-meter board, just going on the brakes. Just trying to look at now the grass on the right side. That's what I'm looking for, because I'm gonna try to go a bit wide on the entry of T1. So basically I can then I have a tight exit on the exit of T1, which basically gonna help after for turn 2, and I have the best exit possible for turn 2. So as you can see on the brakes, just trying to avoid the ABS. So basically going for 90 or 95% on the brakes, just trying to keep a bit of a margin. So it gives me a better performance on the brakes. As you can see, just going a bit wide on the entry. I could have went for the apex already, but just decided to stay a bit wider, like I said, to have a tight exit of on T1. And then just turning in, as you can see, if you want a reference for the turning to the left, you can just use the shadow of the bridge. But yeah, sometimes it's better to not choose the shadows because it can be different. Like if you drive on a cloudy track, for example, you may miss some shadows, for example, so it's better if you don't choose that. But yeah, for me, you can also use, I think, maybe the sort of runoff. It's a bit of runoff near the grass, so you can maybe use that as a reference to turn in, because it's pretty close of what I'm using, what I'm doing actually. So yeah, you can use that bit of runoff. As you can see, when the runoff is under the bonnet, I'm already turning to the left. So I think it's a good reference if you want something for the turn in of T1. So as you can see, just trying to enter the corner really lately, and then just going all the way on the curbing for the apex, using all of the curbing. Third gear corner, so basically no need to use second at any time during the lap. And then when you are on the curbing on the apex, just make sure that you just manage the throttle to not get any sort of wheel spin and stuff, which can unsettle the car, which is not good, because like I said, the good exit of T1 sets up the exit of turn 2, which then is very important because you have a long straight just after, even if you have that long long left just before the straight, but still it's almost like a straight, this thing. So yeah, just make sure you have a good exit of T1, and then you will be able to carry a good speed through turn 2, because if you don't do that, then it's easy to lose 1 or 2 tenths. But let's focus still on T1. as you can see, just getting all of the curbing on the inside. Then just trying to stay a bit tight, like I said, because then I want to set up the exit of turn 2. And as you can see, by being a bit tight on the exit of T1, this gives me a better angle to take turn 2. And it will help me because then I'm gonna have a more steering, a less steering angle. Like I'm gonna have the steering a bit more open, which helps me when I'm gonna go through the grass. You can go through the grass for this one to have better exit because it gives you a better angle to approach the turn 3. So then just a bit tighter for the exit of T1. And then as you can see, just small mistake. As you can see then, just cutting through the grass. So just make sure you're not cutting too much and going on top of the rain thing. That's what used to remove the rain of the track. But anyway, just make sure you don't run on top of this thing because then it can be an off track. But just make sure you run enough on the inside so then it's not an off track and you can have the best angle possible for turn 3. So as you can see, just lifting on the grass because obviously there is a chance that I spin if I put full throttle. And then I'm just gonna try to carry all that speed through turn 3 and just trying to put the less steering angle possible to carry all the speed I carried from turn 2. And now you have that straight, which is a nice overtake opportunity if you have the chance for the turn 4. So then for turn 4, just looking at the exit road, which is just after the 100-meter board. So basically braking just before the exit road, dropping to third gear. And then I'm just gonna try to find as much rotation as I can on the entry on the brakes, just trying to not brake too late as well, because then you can just lose the front and just have a lot of understeer all the way. And then I'm gonna use all of that rotation I found on the brakes, so then I can have the best exit possible. The idea there is to make sure that when I go back on power on this corner, is to have the less steering angle possible. So basically I had to find all of the rotation on the brakes. Sometimes with a GT4, for example, you can find the rotation on the exit on power. But for this one, I think it's really important to optimize all of the rotation you can on the brakes and that not really care of the rotation on the power for this one. That's what I felt the best actually, because if I was trying to find the rotation on the exit, I would, when I made the setup, I had wheel spin most of the time and I was losing time. But if I was really focusing on the rotation on the entry and maybe braking a tiny bit earlier, it was just better for me and I had just a better exit, and most of the time I was gaining maybe half a tenth or a tenth, but yeah, it was always better for me. So the idea there for this one is that just making sure that you brake a bit earlier, maybe not on the exit road, but just a bit before. So then you can make sure that you can really slow down the car, find a lot of rotation, because if you arrive too fast, you're gonna have to make all the things too quickly, and then you may miss a bit of rotation. But by doing that, just braking a bit earlier, it helps me to find all of the rotation and really maximize the rotation. And once I really found the rotation and I'm on the good line, I can really focus on the exit and put all of the power. For the exit of this one, just make sure you don't run too wide. So basically, if you can keep the left wheels on the white line, it's the best. Then if you go on the curbing, I think it's gonna be an off track, not a slow down. But yeah, just make sure you don't run too wide. And then we have that really quick left, which is actually not really a corner, even if it is, but it's completely flat. And then we approach that tricky long right, which is actually very interesting because it's really like it's a very difficult corner actually, because it's kind of blind, I would say, on top, that you don't really know where you're gonna end up. I mean, you cannot see it right now, but you don't really know what you need to do actually through this one. So it's really actually a really interesting corner. So what I'm doing for this one is that I'm gonna first move all the way on the left side, and then I'm gonna look at the tire marks basically on the track. So I'm gonna brake maybe a bit before that, so maybe I don't know, 2 or 3 meters before that as usual. And then going on the brake, just dropping to third, but a bit late. Like when I'm getting on the curbing, that's the point when I'm gonna use third. So I'm gonna use third into this one. Maybe you can stay with fourth, but for me, I prefer to drop to third, but then it's up to you. You can try during the practice and see if you prefer fourth or third, but for me, third is the best. So then as you can see, not putting that much steering, not that much brake input. So just trying to find all of the rotation and at the same time carry the speed, because if I brake too much, first I'm gonna lose the rotation because I'm gonna go too deep on the brakes. The car will go a bit straight, I would say. And then if I don't carry enough speed, then as you can see, it's going uphill. So I need to carry the momentum. I need the speed. So yeah, I can't use too much of the brakes. So going back again, as you can see, just a bit before the tire marks on the brakes, just trying to find the rotation, getting the first curbing, dropping to third. And then mid-corner, I'm just gonna go back on power because it's going uphill. So at some point, I need to find the speed again. And also because I need to find the rotation. Now I'm done with the brakes and I cannot only use the steering to find the rotation. So that's when the throttle is helpful, because from now I can use the throttle obviously to get up to speed. But at the same time, it helps me to find the rotation. And then the idea there is to really get this curbing on the exit, just not to run too wide. If you avoid the curbing, I think you're gonna go too wide on the exit, and it's not gonna be helpful because I think you will miss some speed on the exit of this one. So the idea there is to really to use the curbing on the inside. And then I move to the left just before the braking, and I'm gonna use the curbing, all of the curbing, or at least as much as you can. And then I'm just gonna brake just when you see that the white line is changing a bit of direction. As you can see, now it's going straight. I think even before it was going straight, but for now, as you can see, it's going to the right and then it's going again to the right. But we will focus only on this first one. That's the point I'm looking as a braking reference. Maybe you could look something else, but for me it was the most obvious point because it's really in front of you actually. So it's the you don't have to put your vision in different places, like looking at the tree on the left side or the bushes or the tire wall, etc. You can just look at in front of you. So what I'm doing is that I'm braking just when I'm going on top of this thing, and then as you can see, just trying to play with the brake to find the rotation, not using too much braking because I want to find all the rotation on the entry. And as you can see, it's really tight corners, and also because with the M4 it's a bit tricky to find the rotation because the gearbox is made a bit differently compared to the other cars. So most of the time you use higher gears, which is fine because actually it's really nice. It's a good feeling, and you have that rotation and good exit and stuff. But it can be a bit more difficult to find the rotation. So that's why you really have to optimize the braking. And as you can see, just going on the brakes, need to put more pressure at the beginning because I need to slow down the car. But at the same time, I'm putting a bit less than what I could do, for example, with the Porsche or maybe with the AMG, because at the same time, I need to find more rotation than what I would do with the AMG and the Porsche, for example. So as you can see, maybe 65 or 70% on the entry, and then as soon as I'm getting close of the apex, just releasing the brakes, just using as much as I can on the inside, basically using everything I can. So more than the curbing on the Brazilian curbing, actually using all of the runoff on the entry on the inside. Sorry. And then the idea for this one is that I'm gonna try to carry the speed on the exit, but not too much because I don't want to be too deep on the inside for the next one. I want to keep a bit of a margin to make sure that I can really carry the speed through this one, because if I'm too deep on the inside, then I'm gonna have to slow down the car a bit too much, in my opinion. So the best for me is to keep a bit of a margin. That's why I'm trying to carry speed through this one, but not too much, because for example, at that point, I could go fully on power. Like right now, I could go fully on power. But the thing is that if I do it now, I'm gonna do the mistake I'm telling you. So the idea there is to really wait a bit, and as soon as the car is straight, go back on power. And then when you go past the curbing and you are getting close of the inside, just going on the brake, as you can see, I'm really matching the tire marks actually on the track. So on the white line you can see tire marks. So that's basically what I'm following. So when I'm getting close of that, just going on the brakes. And as you can see from the outside camera, when the front bumper is next to the beginning of the curbing, I'm going on the brake. But when I'm inside the car, it looks like I'm close to the first tire mark I can see there. But it's pretty much it's gonna be up to you to find during the practice what's the best thing to do for you on this one. But for me, I'm just looking at the tire mark, and when I'm getting close of that, just braking. So as you can see, on the brakes, not braking too much because still I need to find a lot of rotation, obviously, and I don't want to lose too much speed because I need to carry the momentum. It's going uphill again just after, so if I don't carry the momentum, I'm gonna be off speed basically. So as you can see, just going on the brakes, trying to find the rotation, just sticking to the. I just stick to the curbing, just not running too deep on the inside because then it's not really it's good to do that, especially when you go back on power. So make sure that you just run the edge of the curbing. But yeah, that's what you need to do for this one. And then when you are in the middle of the corner, you can just go back on power. Make sure you just manage to stay all the way on the inside. And from now, third gear, just really comfortable with this gear, just putting all the power down. And now for this one, as you can see, using the curbing on the entry, and then I need to basically move to the left, so then I can make sure that I can carry a lot of speed, because if I go straight away for the inside, then I'm gonna have to slow down too much to carry on the apex of this one. And then if I'm too slow with the M4, I think I will need to drop to second. And for me, second is not too good on the exit because you can get wheel spin and you're gonna ruin the rear tires. So for me, it's better to go a bit wider, so then you can make sure that you can carry the speed all the way, keep third gear, and have a good exit. So as you will see, just as soon as I'm getting past or close of the beginning of the curbing, I'm just going on the brake, just trying to go wide as you can see, on the brake, but not too much to find the rotation. And now I'm just trying to find the rotation, just trying to find the speed. I'm not going too deep on the inside as well because I don't want to do the same mistake I told you before for the corner before. So basically, if I go too deep on the inside, then there is a chance that the car gets unstable or something if you go back on power. So as you can see, going wide on the entry, just trying to find all of the momentum. And as you can see, you can hear the car. You don't feel or hear that the car is struggling on the exit. So that's why for me, going wide on the entry really helps you to find the speed on the exit and mid corner, because it gives you a nice momentum. It helps you to not slow down too much in the on the apex. So yeah, it's a pretty good line to do. So for me, just go wide, then release the brakes when you go for the turn in to find the rotation, and then mid corner you really have to go back on power to find the momentum, find the speed, and just make sure that you are not dropping the speed too low, because then you're gonna struggle with the third gear for the exit. And then for the exit, just trying to run a bit wide. I think with the M4 I'm running wider than what I would do with the Porsche and the AMG, for example, because with the Porsche and the AMG it's a bit different, because you can use second, which is a bit more simple for the exit, I would say, because it's a bit less you depend it's a bit less difficult with the gear, I would say. With the M4, you're just basically between the second and third most of the time, but third is always the best. With the Porsche and the AMG, there is no question about it. Like, it's not, oh, maybe I'm gonna use third or something. It's always better to use the lower gear. So that's why you can maybe go a bit more straight to the corner, because if it doesn't matter, you're gonna use second anyway. But with this one, if I use second, I'm gonna struggle. So that's why it's better to go wide, because you need to carry the speed through the exit. But with the Porsche and the AMG, for example, if I jump to second, it's okay, because that's what I'm gonna have to use, and I'm gonna have a good exit with second. But if I do this with the DMG, I'm gonna have with the DM4, sorry, I'm gonna have a bad exit. And yeah, that's why I need to exit wide with the M4, because I need to carry the speed. But for example, like I said, with the Porsche and the AMG, I'm gonna have a good exit anyway with seconds, and I won't have to carry all the speed to the point that I'm going wide on the exit of this one. So yeah, that was my point. I hope you understood what I meant. But yeah, that's why my racing line is a bit different with the M4 compared to the two others. But it's not that much different, to be honest. There is no 10 meters difference on the tracks. It's about 2 or 3 meters difference at the best, I would say. But yeah, Then need to move to the right side because I need to prepare this left-hander, but actually not too much, maybe mid-corner, because if I run too wide on the right side, then I'm gonna lose, I think, some time. So yeah, the idea there is to move to the middle of the track, and then I'm gonna try to stick to the curbing at the left side. It's completely flat out, putting fourth gear into the corner, and then I'm just gonna try to not exit too wide. So basically, just staying away from the Astro on the right side of the curbing. You can go with the with half of the car on the curbing, but just make sure you don't run too deep on the outside because then you can get enough track. And then I'm gonna do the same. Gonna use the blue painted area with the I'm gonna use the blue painted with the runoff just before entering the last corner. As you can see, half of the car, one on the blue and one on the Astro. And then for this one, I'm just gonna try to brake. I would say when you can wait, just me 1 second. Yeah, just braking basically. I would say around this first thing on the runoff, like you have different, you have one there, just another one here and another one here again. So what I'm doing is that I'm braking around the first one, I would say. Then it's you can brake maybe a bit later. I think I could have braked maybe 1 or 2 meters later, but it would have not changed that much, I think. But I just wanted to make it safe and not running too wide, because if you run too wide on the exit of this one, then I think you're gonna struggle all the way on the straight because it's not really stable either. So yeah, it can be a bit tricky. But yeah, what I'm doing for this one is that I'm braking around the first I don't know how it's called, to be honest. But yeah, around this first thing on the runoff. So on the brakes, just trying to not run too much on the brake. And then as you can see, just trying to get a bit of curbing on the entry, but not too on the apex, but not too much, because if I get too much, then there is a chance that it gets bumpy. And I think there is like a sort of flat spot on the curbing, which actually helps me to back on power, even if it's really bouncy. But I think it's made bouncy from the beginning when you enter the apex. But yeah, just trying to get the curbing right. So then, as you can see, I can stay fully on power on the exit. And yeah, as you can see, just trying to avoid the runoff on the exit, which is this thing on the right side of the curbing. For me, it's not really interesting to go too wide, because then the car gets a bit unsettled and there is a chance that you get the bad run on the straight. And then, as you can see, just pulling through the gears, fourth gear when it's blinking red, then getting the curbing on the left, and then it's just a run to the start finish line, just running close of the guardrail on the left. Same for the pit entry, and we're good for the lap around Interlagos with the M4 GT4. Alright guys, that's it for today. That was the week 10 of the Falcon Sports Car Series, and we are around Interlagos with the M4 GT4. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and join the Discord server if you have any questions about the work we are making, and I see you for week 11. Bye bye.